talk to you about this, but I know it came real fast. So, the procedure today will be you're sitting at your tables. The table captain will come up with a tray of entries. There'll be 6 or 7 entries of the 4 different meats. Today we'll be judging chicken, pork ribs, pork shoulder, and beef brisket. Does anybody have a problem judging that? Okay. The table captain, bringing his tray of the products to you, will announce the numbers that you're going to be judging today. He'll say 121. You'll write 121 on the score sheet, on the fine KCBS China. Okay? And also corresponding in the first box right here. The table captain will announce all of the numbers, and corresponding, you'll write all of the numbers of the entries in the appropriate boxes. It's really important to take care and make sure that you number the boxes top left to bottom right and top to bottom so that you can help keep yourself track of what's entered. A terrible thing would be to judge this meat and score this number. That would not be fair to the teams out here. So we want to be real careful and make sure we do that accurately. Once the table captain has announced the numbers, so you've written them down, prior to that he should have asked you to fill out the card with your name and your table number and circle the category. The first category today will be chicken, so you'll circle chicken, you'll write your name and your table. You do that as soon as you sit down at the table. Okay? The numbers have been announced, your scorecards have got the entry numbers on. The table captain will then open the first box and he will show you the first box. And you are there to score that product for appearance. Primarily, this is a meat contest. This is a barbecue meat contest. We're not really scoring the garnish, meaning any green or otherwise. Look at the meat. Does it look moist? Is it arranged neatly? Is it cut neatly? Is it placed in there? Does the meat have an appearance that you'd like to? You know what looks good. You've been to a buffet. You've looked down the buffet and you said, ooh, that's the piece of chicken I want. You know what it's supposed to be. Okay? Well, today we're going to ask you to take those thoughts that you're having, translate them to an exclamation or to a descriptive word we have here. 9 is excellent. Please note, I did not say perfect. 9 is excellent. 8 is very good. 7 is above average. 6 is average. 5 is below average. 4 is poor. 3 bad, and 2 inedible. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the scoring system for all the criteria, appearance, tenderness, and taste that you'll use. You will use those descriptive words to come up with a number based on what you're scoring for appearance, tenderness, and taste. Now, let me give you a piece of Stevenism, okay? This is not official KCBS, but 2 inedible means it does not go in my mouth, okay? Raw chicken, bloody red raw chicken that I wouldn't put in my mouth, that would be inedible, okay? 3 bad means I put it in my mouth. 4 poor means I swallowed it. 5 below average means it stayed down. Okay? That's just kind of giving you a starting point, all right? And of course the other descriptive words you'll have to determine for yourself what that means to you. What we have, however, is a non-comparative style of judging. We don't compare this entry to this entry. You compare only to what you judge, to what the line in the sand you've drawn today. If you think this is what it takes to look good today, we ask you to only use that mark today. This is my line for good. If something meets this line, it gets a score of good. If it's better than this line, it gets a better score. If it's worse than this line, it gets a worse score. Okay? Always compare only to that imaginary standard that you've created right now. Okay? What you don't want to do is say to yourself, well, I'll give this a very good because there might be an excellent coming. You don't know that. Compare it only to what you're scoring today, okay? And compare all of yours only to that line. Once you've scored in your mind for appearance, I want you to write that score down on the scorecard. Once you write a score down, you cannot change it. You may not erase it, you may not change it, you may not do anything with it. But you will score it and have a score down there for that entry on appearance. You then close your mind to that entry. It's gone. It's passed. The table captain will then show you the next one, and you'll do the same thing for appearance. You will have, when you finish, you will have 6 or 7 scores on your card for appearance of the 6 or 7 items that you're judging. Okay? Once the appearance scores have done, then the table captain will then take the box, the first box out, he'll open it again, and he'll hand it to the first judge. The first judge will take one portion. Now, a portion is not a softball. It's not a basketball. It's approximately a golf ball size portion, okay? Enough that you will be able to adequately sample the product. If it's chicken, there'll generally be pieces of chicken in there, okay? And you're entitled to a portion. Take that portion and put it on the corresponding box in the plate. Hand the box to the next judge, and by that time the table captain will have been handing more boxes. Now our object is to get the product out of the box onto the plate as quickly as possible. Okay?
Now when they submit their pieces, whether it be sliced, whether it be pulled is easy enough if it's already pulled, but if it's in larger slices like last night, some of the new
last night is completely new, and today there has to be a minimum. One of the rules, we didn't discuss, but one of the rules is there has to be a minimum of 6 separate and identifiable pieces in there.
But
Okay?
if the piece, like I said, yeah, if you come up and there's, yeah, the slices are, the pieces are 6 inches long.
Then you take a 6-inch long piece.
You
don't cut, shake. If you reach in and grab a rib and 4 ribs come out, you put all 4 ribs on your plate.
So
and you call the table captain, let him know. You don't do any of that. Last night was a very unique and special thing because that was anything but an ancillary category. So we ignore that today. Today, you reach in the box. In the case of ribs or chicken, normally pieces, it comes in a piece or a rib. You are entitled to 1 rib and or 1 piece of chicken. Now, in the cases of where you can see they've given 6 perhaps pulled chicken and 6 little pieces of breast, or maybe there's 6 thighs in there and then some pulled breast. You're welcome to take a piece of chicken and a small portion of the pulled, if there's adequate quantities for all the judges to have it. It's kind of a self-policing thing. If the team puts it in the box, we want you to sample. He wants you to try that, and we encourage that. The same thing with pulled pork and brisket. Once in a while, sometimes they'll put slices of pork and then pulled pork also in the box. And sometimes they'll have a pile of bark. That's the dark brown outside. We ask that you take a small portion of each one of those because that all comprises what the cook is trying to let you sample and flavor. So use your judgment. Pork and brisket, there's generally plenty. Chicken and ribs, there's generally only 1 portion per person. That's just a typical. I can't promise you that'll happen.
The main concern was whether or not it's legal to slice a piece of meat. So that,
in all cases, you have to put that on your plate, and you can throw it away or you can take it home or whatever. All right. So once you have your plate distributed, you've got all 6 or 7 of the entries on your score plate. They're piled up here. Once you receive all your entries, you may then begin by picking the lowest, or the number here on the first square, and you may then sample it by tasting it, by pulling it apart and by tasting it for tenderness and taste. Okay? Now, talking about tenderness, ladies and gentlemen, tenderness is not a score of how soft something is. Tenderness is a score of how perfectly it's cooked, over or under. Okay? Meat typically goes through a cycle. Underdone, it's tough, it's chewy, it's stringy. Perfectly done, it's moist, it's biteable, it's got mouth tenderness, it's got mouth feel, and then it goes to overdone where it's dry and sometimes no mouth feel and no resistance to it. That's a typical cycle of almost all meats. What we're looking for as judges, you are looking to reward those cooks who can capture that very narrow band of perfection, where they catch that chicken or that rib or that pork or that brisket at that very narrow little band of perfection. Not over and not underdone. Okay? And that is what tenderness truly is. It's not how soft something is, it's how perfectly it's cooked. And while you may prefer fall off the bone mushy ribs, that may be your personal preference, it does not take a great cook to make ribs so soft they fall off the bone. That's very easy to do. It takes no skill at all. The skill that we're trying to reward is the cook who is able to capture that very narrow band. And that's what you're scoring on. Not that your personal preferences aren't important, because they are important, but reward the cook who can capture that little narrow band of perfection, of perfectly cooked, not over and not underdone. Okay? And that's what appearance is. I mean, that's what tenderness is. Okay? Taste. Ladies and gentlemen, taste, we all know what tastes good to us. And we all probably have also our personal preferences. But what we're trying to do here at Taste is also reward the cook who knows how to balance. There are 5 flavors. Well, there are absolutely 4 tastes that are recognized by all food scientists. Many and a lot of food scientists now recognize a 5th called umami. We have sweet, we have sour, we have salty, we have bitter, and we have umami. We all know what sweet is. Sugar is sweet. Okay? You can imagine what sweet is. We all know what sour is. Vinegar is sour. Okay? Most people know what salty is. Okay? Bitter is something that a lot of people have trouble understanding. You like chocolate. Is a perfect case of bitter. Chocolate, pure, absolute pure chocolate is extremely bitter.
Oh yeah, I do that too.
But mixed with other ingredients, with sweet, sour, and salt, it becomes delicious. And that's what we're trying to reward here to the cook who can balance all of these flavors. That's what's going to get. Now, I'm going to talk very, very briefly about umami. That's the other taste. And it's the taste that has, seaweed has a lot of it in it. It's a strand of proteins that they've recognized help the flavor of products come in and highlight. The best thing that most people in the United States know is shiitake mushrooms. If you ever taste shiitake mushrooms, they're not salty, they're not sweet, they're not sour, they're not bitter, but that's the taste of umami. It's the other taste. It's the thing that kind of balances it all out. When a cook has done a good job with taste, you're going to know it because it tastes good to you. If something tastes extremely salty, that cook probably hasn't balanced his flavors very well. If it's extremely sour, he hasn't balanced. And what you will generally find if you really stop and analyze your tastes is that the things that you really, really, really like, the cook has got his flavors all in balance. Now, in addition to the taste, there's also aroma, and those are part of the taste structure, okay? True taste, although we call it taste, truly what we're judging is flavor, which means that we're also using the tactile feel of our hands, our eyes, our nose, our aromatic sources, all of those things. And while we do call this taste, I'm asking that we truly score on flavor, which encompasses all of those things when you score for taste. Okay? Using the KCBS scoring system of 9 excellent, 8 very good, 7 above average, 6 average, 5 below average, 4 poor, 3 bad, 2 inedible. Do you have any questions? Okay. Once you have judged all of your 6 or 7 entries, you'll have a score for taste and tenderness in each of the scores. Again, you score taste and tenderness for the first item, you write your score down, and you close the book on that one, and you start again with the next one. You score it for taste and tenderness, you close the book and proceed to fill out the rest of your card. When you have your card completely filled out, you will have your numbers in this box. All your appearance scores, taste scores, and tenderness scores will all have numbers in there. Please write legibly. The computer operator has to read these, and he's third grade education. Really, please take good care of us, okay? All right. Does anybody have any questions?
Nope.
No offense. Rule number 1. Have fun. Okay. See you back here at 11:45. Okay.
Thank you.